Before we get started, we just want to announce for anyone interested in ordering Mr. Lindell's 4-CD set, go to metaphysicalarttheater.com. For those in the U.S., you can order either physical copies or the digital downloads. For those outside the U.S., you can order the digital downloads by going to metaphysicalarttheater.com. How you doing, sir?
Just fine, thank you. What's up today?
Well, today we're going to be talking about an introduction to yourself, and this is speaking to the listener. Whoever is hearing this word, this message is for you. And again, this is an introduction to yourself. You know, Scripture says, "Have I not said that ye are gods, children of the Most High?" Is that who we are?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I ask a question to all the people listening. Do you believe God would lie to you? That's the question. I mean, just ask yourself, do you really believe God would lie to you? Then, if not, then why are you not paying attention to his words? God is not denying you anything. There's only God, all things to all, right here, right now, with you always. What else do you really need to know to actually sit in the silence and discern just what we've said? Isn't that right?
It is right. You know, and it's funny, I was in the Facebook group the other day, and somebody that I hadn't seen in the group for some time, maybe a few months, said that she wanted to get quiet and she wanted to turn off all the noise. So she stopped searching Facebook groups. She stopped, reading books. And what she decided to do was to get silence and to hear from God first person.
That's it. That's it. Exactly it. Me. She wanted to get rid of the noise. She is the noise. You see, we're the ones making the noise. It's all our doing, as within, so without. As you feel thinkingly, feelingly within, that is your without. That's always what you're going to see. That's always what you're going to be experiencing. And as to me, the man, I'm guilty of all the things that man is guilty of, at least in thought. But that's enough, because aren't we told something about if a man look lustfully upon a woman, he's already did it in his heart?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, so you have to understand you're on all the time. There's no fictitious talking to yourself. Every word, you understand, every word is taken in the culmination to make up your world of experiencing. So it's really all on you to change your mind. That changes your world. You don't need to do anything to make your world what you want it to be. You have to see it so in mind, in the theater of mind. That's where you do your work of changing your mind, change your world. And that's what that's what we've been talking about all along, is that if you want to change, you are given that you can change your mind, change your world. It's already a given. It's not something you're waiting for, not something you're trying to wait until you be good. That would really be a long time.
Well, at least I know for me it would be. And I'm glad you mentioned not wait until you are good. Many of us have been indoctrinated by religion that, if in order to begin to experience these spiritual experiences, that you have to be doing the right thing, you have to be at a certain level of spirituality. And Neville would be the first person to tell you that when he had the experience, he wasn't doing anything different than the average person. And I can likewise attest, when I had my birthing process, it didn't take place because I was good. I was still struggling in my relationships. I was still frustrated with the dog. Life still wasn't doing everything that I wanted it to do. And yet, it didn't stop the birthing process within me. Would you agree?
Right. That's right. You see, it goes beyond natural man-mind reasoning. You have to go beyond natural man-mind reasoning, and you're given to do so. First person, that's what we were looking for, were those people who were looking to know first person, not hearsay. I mean, you can go to church and you can hear hearsay, 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 hearsay all the way back to, well, actually more than 5,000 years ago. But it's still hearsay until you first person experience it. And you can experience it all in mind, in imagination, in the theater of mind. You can experience every experience you're to have first person. You don't need hearsay, because that's what we've all been operating on since we were born, generally. But now it's time to take care of yourself in mind, in imagination. Do the thing, feel the thing, I am that. If you do that consistently, persistently, well, you'll see for yourself first person. Isn't that right?
It is right. And I like that you said that we have to move beyond hearsay to our say. And I think that so many of us, I've talked to so many people and they said, well, Neville says this, or this teacher says this, or this teacher expounds on this, or this teacher is enlightened about this. And I say, but what is it that you say? What is it Spirit saying to you? And often we allow other people's voice to be louder in our ears than us going into the silence and hearing what says the Lord. Would you agree?
That's exactly it. You're right. That's it. That's all there is to it. You are in control. Take control. You're standing. You have the wheel in your hands. You're steering. Wake up. That's all you need to do. It is a sleep. It is a dream. And you're dreaming the dream. And you can dream beyond the dream. And then beyond the dream again. And then beyond the dream again. It's all in mind, in you, in every child born of woman. And that's who the message is for. And the message is, choose this day. And that's all you need to do, is to choose it feelingly. I think that pretty well covers it.
It does. And getting back to, you said the message is in the individual, and the message is, choose you this day. And I think that far too often we hear the message, and what we fail to recognize is that even in our failure to choose, we're choosing. Would you agree?
Yes, that's it. You see, the thing of it is that you were told to pray ceaselessly, without stopping. And you are doing so. The only difference is, are you aware that you're dreaming the dream that you're living day by day? If you are, then you can change it, because it's all in mind. In the theater of mind, you seeing, you doing, being, having, whatever it is you see yourself doing and being and having. But do so, and do so in your own behalf. Like I said before, Neville told me, well, you're not even on your own side. I said, what? He says, I didn't really hear that you're on your own side. And that started a whole revolution of thinking and feeling in a different direction. And that's exactly what you'll do, too. It'll come to you. It is you. It's with you always. It will never leave you. Omnipresence. Come on, that's all there is going on. That's the whole world of experiencing that all of us are experiencing. And those who know what they're going to experience, because they're monitoring their own self-talk and they're aligning it, as we're told, if a man would order his conversations right, he would know salvation. And that's what you want, salvation. Everybody's looking, they're saying that they want justice. No, you don't want justice. You want mercy. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You said to those who know, they understand it when they think they're ordering their conversation. And the thing about those who know, it's very few of all the population of 8 billion people that are of the mindset of people who know that as you think, you are. Would you agree?
That's absolutely correct. Because it is bestowed upon every child born of a woman. And so, yeah, that's everyone. So it's always up to the individual. And I say individual because that's what you are, an individual. There's not another like you. I mean, you could search the world over. There's not another like. And there isn't even two leaves that are the same in the forest. So you're an original. You're an only begotten because there's not another one like you. So feel after him, that one that you want to see you being, doing, and having. And you will, if you'll persevere. But that's what it is. It's perseverance. It's being patient with yourself. That was the largest obstacle I had to overcome, was just being patient with myself, just even for moments at a time, because that's when you see clearly. When you're quiet, you're told, be still and know that I'm God. So I can't think of anything else that would let you know more than that, would you?
No, I think that you definitely nailed that on the head. And, you said something while you were speaking, and you spoke about the only begotten. Of course, it says that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever shall believe in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. I always took the only begotten, especially as a young believer and even as an older believer, to be the Christ out there. I didn't see myself as being the only begotten. And I think that many of us have that challenge, even as the woman that spoke to you from Netherlands had said that, I have a problem with your message, and the problem that I have is you saying that you're God's. We don't understand truly who it is that we are. We say it, we mouth it, but we don't realize that we're part of the collective whole known as God. Would you agree?
That's it. We're all at one. And that's what he said. And even if you feel that you're undesirable, that you're unfaithful or whatever it is, you're told, blessed is the man or woman that does not condemn himself for that which he has allowed. So in other words, you're given a new life every day. Every day, a new life. This day is a new life from yesterday. But you can drag yesterday into today, and that's what most people do. It's always yesterday that they're experiencing, and they're never changing for tomorrow by changing today. Because today is literally the first day of your life if you make a change. Isn't it?
It is, and I love that you gave a mental picture about dragging yesterday into today, but creating your tomorrow. And so often we do that. We keep saying, well, nothing's changed, and we keep repeating the same ideals, concepts, mindsets, and we're wondering why we're still broke, why we're still out of health, why we're not in a desirable relationship. And it's because what you said a moment ago, you can change this very moment and begin to transform your world as you know it. Would you agree?
Absolutely so, because it's choose this day, and it is always this day. It's not a yesterday. It's not a tomorrow. It's always this day. And that's what you're given to choose from this day. And you're given whatsoever to choose from. And you're told that if a man would order his conversations aright, he would be shown. You are having a revelation. You just haven't recognized them yet. There are those moments that you know something, but you don't know how you know it. But then because you don't know how you know it and you don't open it and quicken it, it goes away. And then there you are again. But it'll happen again, and it'll happen again, and it'll happen again. And sooner or later, you're going to say, whoa, wait a minute. And that's the time. That's when you cause desired change. Because now is the appointed hour, and it's always now. So now is the appointed hour. And he gives you a whole hour, so that's plenty of time to spill it out, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I want to go back to what you said about if a man would order his conversations aright, he shall experience salvation. And I want to go back to what you said when you were talking to Dr. Joseph Murphy years ago. He told you when you two of you were talking that salvation can even be a hamburger if that's what you desire at the moment, correct?
Yes, that's it. You see, the thing of it is that we're not taking what we're doing, thinking, feelingly serious. And it's very serious because every word must be accounted for. And I know I repeat that over and over and over, but, most people can't grasp the idea of every word being taken into culmination to make up their life of experiencing, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, and so much so with every word that Jesus said that we would even give an account to even the idle words. So there's no word that's left untouched, those that are purposeful and those that are idle. Would you agree?
Absolutely. That's the thing of it is that what you have to understand is that you're on all the time. There's no downtime. You're on all the time. Are you thinking, feelingly, knowingly at all? Really? But are you really focused on what you're saying, suggesting to self? Because that will be your world of experiencing. And it'll be according to how you see time as progressing in whatever subject it is that's being taken in by you, because what has your attention has your life. And there's no getting around that because you're praying ceaselessly. And you're either praying aright or you're praying amiss. Everybody worries, or everybody's concerned about dying in one degree or another. That's just that you have observed, the world around you and how they think. And then you pick it up and you use it, and you're not even examining what it is that you're taking in. Because what you're taking in, you're going to be experiencing without. So you want to make sure that when you're thinking, you're choosing what you're thinking. It's not just idle thoughts riding through. Because, like DeCarlo just told you, that Jesus said even the idle thoughts, they'll be programmed right into your experiencing, right?
Absolutely. You said something about everybody is worried about dying, or at least some aspect of it. And what I discover is because it goes back to an introduction to the individual, an introduction to yourself. We don't realize that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So we think body, ego, is who we are. So, of course, when you think about the death of ego, body, we become terrified. Would you agree?
Yes. And ego wants to run the show. You understand? Ego really wants to run the whole show. And in most cases, he does. Unaware. The person that is experiencing what ego's doing is generally totally unaware that it's not their own idea. And that's just the way ego wants it, because he's in charge, even though you're doing the mechanical living. But ego is actually guiding you in everything that it wants, not what you want. It really doesn't even care what happens to you, just as long as he's satisfied. Isn't that the idea?
Satisfied and survives. As long as ego is surviving, and thriving, it's content. And you said something. You said many people are being led by ego, and they don't even realize that it's not even their own ideal.
Yeah. But they'll mouth it.
Absolutely. And I like that you added that, because often when we're operating from a place of ego, we say, this is just who I am. You know, we identify so with the state of this body that we think, matter of fact, when you start saying about us being connected, us being one, we hear that and it goes in one ear and out the other, because in truth, we really don't believe it. And that's why we can harm another person and it not even affect us, because we think that we're separate. Would you agree?
Yes. You know, it's just like we said in the beginning. There's only God. I mean, you see all thousands and thousands of articles around you, buildings and bridges and roads and all of that. But that's a virtual reality out of the mind of man. So you're making, as it says, they themselves are makers of themselves. So you're making yourself by what you're thinking feelingly about, because it says, as within, so without. I keep repeating this often because I know how important it is for that to be your operating level, not what you hear from without, unless it is the message, and you will hear the message from without, which is what you're doing right now. You're listening to the message from without. But if you'll take it in, if you'll sit in the silence, that's where the magic is. That's where you do your work, in the silence. And that's, well, where you're told, be still and know that I'm God. So, to me, you've just been given the whole show. Now, start acting in it, right?
Absolutely. And, yeah, we're conveying the message from without. But as Mr. Lindell just said, until you internalize it within and it becomes your message, it'll just be another message. Would you agree?
Yeah, actually, it would be nice if it was just that, but you'll forget it altogether. But mine won't forget it. You see, you know, the thing of it is, people that say that they've had the experience that I've been talking about, they don't realize that it's what they feel at that moment. They're being loaded to feel what they are thinking. So if you will do so consistently, persistently, you see, you'll catch yourself either setting yourself up or setting yourself free. Because that's exactly what you're doing even now. Isn't that so?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the question that you often put out there, can you choose your next thought?
It is a choice. That's something people don't really zero in on. It is a choice. You're actually choosing your future every moment of time, because you're always thinking ahead of your evidence, and as you think feelingly, you are. So you're in charge even if you're out of control. Just take control. That's what God's telling you to do, take control. He gave you choose this day. And it's always this day. So you're always on to choose better than the best. Well, why not do so? It doesn't cost you anything. And it certainly will change your world. That's what I'm here for. I'm here because I'm a witness to the fact that you change your mind, your world changes in exact accordance to the change of mind. But it is a true change of mind. It's not just talking about it. It's talking from it, from the desire, from the ideal. That's what you're to do. And that's what you are doing when you're successful at whatever you're looking for. Because what you're looking for is, in fact, looking for you. And the two shall meet if you'll hold up your end. Because God said, if you turn to me, I'll turn to you. So on his side of the equation, it's already a done deal. Where are you? That's the question, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, and I like that you incorporated when you think from, that's your success. But you put also a key element in there. You must persevere. Many of us, when we start using these principles, we get on a train of thought, we get into a mindset, and we start experiencing success for a moment. But because it doesn't come as quickly as we think it should or how we thought ultimately it should have come, we say this stuff doesn't work, and then we begin to turn mine off, and we begin to haphazardly think thoughts that we don't want to manifest in our world. Would you agree?
Just understand this. You're on all the time. You're being monitored by self if self is paying attention to monitor. If it isn't, then it's wild. You can have the wildest ideas and attitudes and assumptions and moods if you're not paying attention. But if you're paying attention and you're aware of what you're saying, that means that you either approve of it or disapprove of it. And if you disapprove of it, it's gone. If you approve of it, then that will be your experience going forward, because you're always thinking ahead of your evidence. If you just remember that right there, it'll save your mind, it'll save your life, it'll save it all, because it's in your mind that you can do this. You know, God told you to do it. Why would he tell you to do it if he thought you couldn't do it? He knows you can do it. He told you to do it. So do it. It's just being patient enough with yourself to sit still and know that I'm God. That's where you want to make that connection. Make that connection, and the rest of it handles itself. And that's the way it's laid out, isn't it?
It is. It is. And going back to what you said about be still and know that I am God, when we begin to understand that in him we live, we move, we have our existence, and apart from him we can do nothing. Yeah. This is not the religious person. This is every person. Would you agree?
Yeah, they're a thinking, feeling being. Aren't you?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what you ask. Aren't you a thinking, feeling being? Well, that's who he's talking to. Of course, he knows you don't know, because you've been conditioned from day one by parents, guardians, and friends, and neighbors, and even your enemies. We've all been programmed. And it is up to us to examine that programming to see if it's leading us where we want to go. And if at the moment you're not really all that enjoying life, well, that's a code. That's a secret right there. You just broke into the secret that it's you doing it. Like I said about Pogo, I have found the enemy, and he is I. I mean, the man gave you scripture right there. Did you take it that way? As you think you are? See, the thing of it is that people are trying to shirk the responsibility for being responsible. I mean, come on. They're laying it off on the churches to save them. The churches can't save you. If they could save you, they could save themselves. Right?
Absolutely.
Come on. It's right with you. Not about you, not around you. It's right with you. I am with you always. I will never leave you. If you want information, why not just turn around? Isn't that it?
It is. Turn to me, and I'll turn to you.
But then there's a but. If you deny me, I will deny you also. And
Absolutely.
you must, because it's only the one turning, right?
Absolutely. I want to touch on that denying, because many people don't even realize that they're denying God with their erroneous thoughts. You say often you can have what you want, except when you begin to think amiss. Missing the mark. Sin is thinking upon the things that you don't want to manifest in your life and giving your thoughts, your feelings, your states to that. Would you agree?
That's it. You're doing it to yourself. I know you blame everybody. Oh, I had a list. I know everybody's got a list of those who are at fault for this, that, or the other. But you did it yourself. They may have tried to initiate it, but you still had to accept it to experience it. And if you don't accept it, then it just goes away. But if you even think about it for even moments, it'll grow, and it'll have experiencing that you will go through to fulfill that misinformation. And that's what people do. They operate on misinformation. And there's a lot of that out there, that's for sure. But you have to weed it out. It's just like your garden. Your garden will grow beautiful, but if you don't take the weeds out, they'll devour it.